Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. Sometimes when you're looking at a court case and you're trying to understand concepts, sometimes it's helpful to think of a criminal case. You know, specifically, one thing that's a good example in a criminal case that also applies in a family law case is, the court has to make findings before they make a ruling. A lot of times in family court, they'll do a temporary order because you're accused of being a violent child abuser, domestic violence perpetrator, drug addict, or alcoholic. And then in the meantime, while you're waiting for trial or with this temporary order in place, while they're trying to figure out if you have that problem, they will suspend your access to your kid or order supervised visitation or whatever. Because of Troxel versus Granville, which is a case that all of you should have thorough understanding of, and you really only need to understand two different sentences in there. If you don't know about Troxel versus Granville or your constitutional rights, then type in Troxel versus Granville and go look it up. Troxel, or watch my video on my YouTube channel. So in a criminal court case, just think about, there's some stuff that the average person knows. All you got to do is watch a couple episodes of Law and Order or a couple of court cases that are criminal, the O.J. Simpson case or whatever. If somebody's charged with murder, they don't give them the death penalty just because they're charged. They don't take away their life, liberty, and property. Sometimes they'll make proof that they're a danger to society and they'll be in jail the whole time while their trial is going on. So, but if, putting my shoes on after walking on the beach here, if anybody's wondering what the heck is he doing. But you shouldn't have to worry about that because you're getting valuable free information. If you don't like me, some people don't like me talking in my car. Some people don't like me wearing a sweatshirt. Some people don't like me moving around a little bit. I'm giving you information that your $400 an hour attorney won't even give you. You should be willing to tough it out with all these little intricacies that you got an issue about. If you're a prima donna or diva that needs flashing lights and some music and, all this glitz and glam, then you're a product. If you're a man, you have a lot of feminine energy because you want to be wowed and bamboozled by a really fancy studio video and all this stuff and not the content. In the Rocky movies, when Rocky is coming back or training or has a big fight with Apollo Creed or the Russian or whatever, he goes out in the middle of nowhere. He works out, chasing chickens and in a butchery. He goes out in the middle of nowhere in Siberia or wherever that was, out in the winter cold in a log cabin. And he gets to the raw basics. I'm sitting here giving you the raw basics. I got to get my charger in here. I'm sitting here giving you raw basics and information you're not going to get anywhere else. So don't get uptight about that. So in a criminal case, if you're charged with murder, they don't give you the death penalty or life in prison. They don't sentence you. They don't make a conclusion. They don't interfere with your rights technically by making a ruling until you've had due process, a trial by jury, and you've had a chance to prove your side of the case. In family court, because like Troxel versus Granville demonstrates, they're taking away a constitutional right, your right to your kids. So they suspend your right to your kids, but they don't make a finding that you're abusive or a danger to your kids. They say, we need a guardian ad litem, we need an evaluator, we need somebody to go and investigate to see if there's this problem. But we're going to make a conclusion that you're a monster in the meantime, and we're going to take away a right. You see how that is? They're drawing a conclusion or making a judgment as if, like in a criminal case, they give somebody a sentence and they take away their rights or take away something from them. They can't do that, but they do it every day. And then everybody goes on Facebook and whine, cries, and pisses and moans about it, but you won't stand up for yourself in court and say, you cannot do this. This is anti-due process. I have a constitutional right at stake, and you're making a conclusion, and you're endangering the children because just in case the mother's prima facie or on the face or on the surface allegations might be true. You don't throw somebody in jail, give them a sentence of, you don't give them the death penalty in case they might have done it. They have to prove that they did it. Or you don't go through a jury or a trial and then say, and the jury says, we find the defendant not guilty. And the judge says, I'm going to give you the death penalty just in case you did it until you come up with some proof that you didn't do it. That's what they do in family court. I'm going to take away your rights to the kids because these are some serious allegations. So what? They're just allegations. When you went to court and they said, these are serious allegations, so I'm going to suspend your visitation or only supervise, did your attorney say, so what? You can't do anything based off of allegations? Where's your finding of fact that they actually abuse the child or are dangerous to the child? Because a parenting plan that takes the child away, just like a kidnapper taking a child away, is harmful to the child or children. So why are you going to do that? In Washington, there's a section in the parenting plan that talks about the dangers of this parent. Drugs, alcohol abuse, molestation, domestic violence. They have a list of check boxes. What this parent's parenting problem is. A lot of times, they'll write the word reserved, meaning I'm going to reserve judgment as to whether this person has this problem until later on. But then they limit their access to the child. If you reserve judgment, there's no finding that you did anything. And Troxel versus Granville says you have to assume that I act in the child's best interest. So I'm a good parent who acts in the child's best interest, but you say, I'm going to reserve judgment until later. There might be a problem with this person. Let's take the children away as if there is a problem. Do you get that? Do you understand that? That's where you can think about how it works in a criminal case and then picture how it should work in your case. Because sometimes I tell people this stuff and they don't study it. They don't pay attention. They just want to listen one time because they don't give a shit about their kid or their life with their kid enough to grow some balls and put some energy into it and study this stuff. And they hear something I say and they're like, that sounds good. Well, I didn't remember what you said, or I didn't bring that up in court. Why not? Why wouldn't you bring an argument up in court that helps you win? Oh, because I forgot or I didn't really understand it. Why wouldn't you get a consultation to get thorough understanding about something that will help you rescue your life with your kid? Because you don't give a shit or you're lazy. That's the problem with family court. I got so much free information out there. If you really wanted to, you could put on your own case and destroy the other side. I've had a few people do it, but they put in the effort. That's putting it all out 24/7, outside of work, 100% effort toward your case. If you just do some of the minimum stuff I talk about, sometimes that's enough to scare the other side, slap them around, and get them to surrender. But most people don't even do this half-ass, bottom-level, basic legal 101 effort. I'm sitting here giving you guys a whole bunch of free game, and most people won't do it, like I talked in my last video. I got people calling me up after their hearing or after trial, and I'll say, did you say the stuff that I told you in our last appointment 3 or 4 months ago when you abandoned all hope and getting help with me and trying on your case? You went on a drinking binge for 3 months? Did you say what we talked about? No. Well, did you do this? Did you object to all that inadmissible evidence? I had somebody tell me about what happened at trial. A whole bunch of inadmissible evidence was allowed in trial. I said, did you object under the evidence rules? I didn't know what the evidence rules were. Why would you go to trial and not know what the rules are for trial? Why would you learn to drive and not learn the rules of the road? Why would you take a job as a building inspector or construction worker or something like that and not know the requirements or specs that are needed for building something, or the safety hazards? Why would you not know that stuff? Why would you not know of course you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't take a job where you don't know what your job entails and what comes with it. But you'll fight for your kid and show up in court not knowing what the hell you're doing, and then you're like, oh, I'll call James if I get screwed later. Anyway, if they say reserved, they can't do that.